Hey there Trekkies, I'm Michael aka the TrekLad and welcome back to my channel for what is going to be the resumption of a challenge that I set myself a long time ago and I failed miserably with it, but I am starting it up again. A while ago I said that I was going to do 100 videos in 100 days and I got to like 10 and I was like, I can't do it. I put too much pressure on myself to edit the videos, to think about what I was going to say. All important things, but the point of the challenge is to regularly make content and just get it out there, get into the habit of creating and creating and creating. And I've kind of fallen into this pattern where I've been lethargic and not very creative, so I'm hoping that this challenge gets me back on track. So we'll see how it goes, but bear with me, these videos are going to be minimally edited and could be crap, but there's going to be I'm going to make 100 of them and they're all going to be Star Trek related. So here we go, episode 1, because I'm restarting it. Video 1, episode 1, and for the first one I asked the wonderful people on Twitter I wanted 10 questions. I wanted 10 questions about me and my fandom that I could answer very, very quickly, because the idea is these videos will be a minute up to 5 minutes in length, like 5 minutes being the longest. So I wanted 10 questions that I could just kind of rapidly fire off. So if you're watching this for the first time and you're here on the channel, hello, by the way. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for at least 100 more videos of Trekkie goodness. I asked for 10 questions and I got 48. I've just had one come through. So 47 being the perfect number, really. Now 48. And do you know what I'm going to do? Because every time I ask for something on Twitter, I get way more than I think I'm going to get. And I absolutely love the wonderful people that I've connected with on Twitter. So if that's you, I love you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as quickly as I possibly can, but while still giving something, I'm going to go through every single one of these questions. There might be some duplicates, bear with me. And yeah, we're going to go through this right now. Which aspects of the different Star Trek series can you equate to current times? Which aspects of the different Star Trek series can you equate to current times? That's difficult. That's hard. Straight off the bat, Sean. Thank you very much. Which aspects of different Star Trek can you equate to current times? I can't answer that. I can say which show reminds me of current times, and that's Deep Space Nine. Has engaging with the Star Trek community changed your perception or previously held view of something? Yes, Star Trek has actually helped me become far more liberal, far more left-leaning. I actually come from a bit of a conservative, but not like really right-wing conservative, because that would make me a monster. I've always been probably like a new conservative here in the UK. Well, you'd know that, CM. But over the last few years, particularly helped by my interaction with Star Trek and really taking a lot of it to heart over the last 5 years, I've become far more left-leaning. How were you introduced to the franchise, and would you introduce it to someone the same way? I was introduced to Star Trek as a baby, and you best believe I'm going to be forcing my children to watch Star Trek for sure. Which ship would you pick to serve on, and what would you do on that ship? I would probably serve on the least important ship imaginable, and I would probably change the little straws in the replicators. Little Red Dwarf joke for you. If you had to delete one Trek series from existence, which one would it be and why? That's Picard. Have you ever gone through a difficult time that your Trek fandom has made a little easier, and how? Yes, absolutely. I'm going through a bit of a difficult time now, to be completely honest with you. And every day I log in and every day I have so much warmth and wonderful messages. I've made some incredible friendships that are going to stand the test of time. And some of those people have been actively helping me with what I'm going through in my life right now. And to those people, you know who you are. I am incredibly grateful. Star Trek, I wouldn't go as far as to say saved my life, but it has made my life way better in the last few years. Which Trek episode would have made an excellent spin-off into its own TV show? The Gary 7 episode. What's at least one thing Star Trek has taught you in life? respect everyone and always understand that there are two sides to any story. What's your best or most inspiring quote from Star Trek? I don't really think I've got one. I will say that I absolutely love the Picard scene with Shinzon when they're in his quarters and he's talking to Shinzon about how they have the same genetic material, they have the same makeup, they have the same potential, and you can make yourself a better man. And I always take something from that, even though it's from Nemesis. Lots of questions here from Cloud Kent. Thank you very much. Your favourite Star Trek character? Riker, Captain, Cisco, TV series, Deep Space Nine, episode... Oh, that's hard. Best of Both Worlds. Movie, Wrath of Khan. Villain, Khan. Alien Species, Borg. And how did I become a fan? Born into it. Funniest episode and or line or moment. Wow, there's a lot of stuff there. Funniest episode. Funniest episode would be... Let's take away Lower Decks for a second because that's purely comedic. Funniest episode... Oh, that's hard. That's hard. Brida Chaotica, maybe? I always laugh at that one. I always laugh at Data's Day as well. I just, in like a cute way. Funniest episode. I laugh a lot at Spock's brain. It's just, they're playing it really, really straight, but I always laugh at it. When you see Spock for the first time without his brain, I giggle for a long, long time. Do you think your cultural background makes you see Star Trek differently to people from other cultures? Hard to say. Yeah, probably. I mean, the thing is let's not make any bones about it. I'm a white guy, middle class guy from England. I'm literally the most privileged person ever. It's helped me. Star Trek has helped me understand that there are lots and lots of different people from different cultures, and being part of this fandom in particular has helped me understand even more so that there are different people with different stories, and you should always be open to understanding those people, understanding their stories, and embracing those people as well. So Star Trek has definitely helped me there. How do I see that differently from other cultures? Probably. I think everybody sees everything different to everybody else, but it's an interesting question. I have to give it a bit more think. I have to think about it a little bit more. What's your fondest experience of Star Trek fandom? Probably seeing. I don't know. Singing Faith of the Heart in front of Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating was a thing. Has the way you approach Star Trek fandom changed over time? Yes, definitely. When I first started watching it, I was 4. It was all about pew-pews, explosions in space, and Worf. I really loved Worf when I was a kid. For some reason, I really liked Klingons and being an alien warrior. Over time, I've come to appreciate and understand the way TV and films are made. And I really, really love how it all kind of comes together and the magic that binds Star Trek and brings it to the screen. So I really, really like that. And over the last 10 years, I've really become a bit more philosophical, a bit more, not so spiritual, but I tend to look at things with a little bit more depth, given the fact that, what we're going through at the moment with our changing social times. I like to, I don't like to overanalyze Star Trek is one thing that I will say. But I do like to look at how Star Trek has always been this social experiment, and how the best stories in Star Trek kind of hold that mirror up to society and tells incredible stories that are very, very, very important. How do you feel about the apparent anger and hatred aimed at the new Star Trek shows Discovery, Picard, and Lower Decks? I don't really understand it. I have problems with Discovery and Picard, particularly Picard, but it's more from a creative perspective. I love the fact that we're getting new Star Trek, and I think that something that brings new people into something is only a good thing. I do think that improvements can be made to the former shows. Lower Decks is tremendous, and I'm having so much fun watching that. I don't understand how people can get so angry over this stuff, though, but, they do it for the clicks. If you could walk a mile in any character's uniform, who would it be and why? The stock answer would probably be Riker because of the attempts to look similar. I mean, the beard's a little unruly now. But if I could walk a mile in any character's uniform, I would love to know what it would be like to be a Trill. Yeah, so the idea of having something put in you that then fundamentally changes you. That sounded really, really rude. What is your second favourite star-themed franchise? Shout out Commodore. Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined one, because I haven't got time for the 70s one. It's no good. What's your favourite holodeck episode? Ship in a Bottle. Absolutely love that episode, and really, really smart premise, and the way it gets wrapped up is so cool. And Moriarty in Star Trek was always meant to be, right? Had Jeffrey Hunter stayed on as Captain Pike, would the TOS show be better or worse? Good question. Hard to say. Hard to say, because Jeffrey Hunter played it very, very straight as Pike, and Shatner had this weird, campy exaggeration around him that I think made him quite endearing. I will say that I think had Leonard Nimoy been in it anyway, I think the show would have probably still been massively popular, because Leonard Nimoy is probably, in my opinion, the reason why the show got so huge, and they would have just shipped Pike and Spock together and the show would have still been a thing. So I reckon the show would be the same. That's what I'm going to say. Here's a good question. Which movie is better, The Wrath of Khan or First Contact? The Wrath of Khan. What's your favourite ship class and why is it the Miranda? Well, you answered that one for me. Is there an actor that you would love to be a starship captain? Ooh. Yeah, I would love to see... I'm going to try and think of a smart answer here. Yeah, that's actually quite a difficult one. I would love to see... I mean, I always wanted Edward James Olmos to be a Star Trek captain, but he was a cool Battlestar Galactica captain. I don't know, like Willem Dafoe as if you take the character that he was in The Lighthouse and you have him as this crazy shell-shocked captain, that would be cool. Yeah. That's my answer, Willem Dafoe, because the guy's tremendous. What advice would you give to someone who wants to try Star Trek? Try it. Go in with an open mind, and you're going to have fun, regardless of when you step in. Just go in with an open mind, and watch it with friends. Star Trek is best enjoyed with friends and a drink. As both Discovery and Picard have featured characters or races from previous Treks, would you like this to continue? And if so, what would you like to see? That's a good question. I love the idea of passing the torch from one era to another, and we've not had that with Enterprise yet. So I think what I want to see is something that I've been saying for a while, is when you get Strange New Worlds, I would love it if you had T'Pol, an older T'Pol, Jolene Blalock, reprising her role, coming on board. Maybe it could be a flashback where they're commissioning the Enterprise, and you could even get Scott Bakula in like really old man makeup and have them hand it over. It would just be tremendous, and I think that it would give the Enterprise crew that real proper send-off that I think that they deserve. And I would have Trip there, and I would make the novels that he was that secret super spy. I'd totally make that canon. What was the first Star Trek series or movie you watched and enjoyed? If it was not TOS, did it impact your perception of the earlier series and movies? Personally, I recall seeing The Undiscovered Country when I was young, falling in love with TNG when it was on reruns, but TNG series had not yet finished. This is a long question. And when I went to watch TOS at first, I found it boring and the effects were awful. Okay, yeah, so the first Star Trek TV series that I watched was... it's hard to know. I don't know whether it was TNG or Deep Space Nine, but I have very vivid memories of The Way of the Warrior when I was about 4 years old. My first proper Star Trek experience was actually The Search for Spock, so I've always had this affinity with the TOS movies and any of that kind of TOS material. I used to watch TOS when I was a kid, when I was like 6, with my grandparents, so I never really thought of it as... I mean, it was old then, in like 1996, but around then it was like the 50th anniversary and everybody was loving TOS again. It was going for a bit of a revival here in the UK. I struggle to watch TOS now because I think that it's a bit padded and the runtimes are longer and the scripts aren't as great and things like that. But I still think that it's an important part of Star Trek, and when I'm in a particular mood, I love watching some of those classic episodes. Which is your favourite series theme music? Enterprise's Faith of the Heart, for sure. But best orchestral is Voyager any day. Hobby, religion, martial art, or all three? I'm assuming you're referring to Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek is my hobby. It's my religion. And I would love to learn a Klingon martial art. Yeah, why not? What makes you so passionate about Trek fandom? It's made me a better person, and it's helped me make friends that I never thought I would have, and it's opened the world up to me. And it constantly challenges me, and it adds so much to my character. And it gives me something to do to keep me out of trouble. Is Trek your first fandom, or did you have others before? Do you still follow those other things, or has Trek replaced them? No, I've actually got quite a diverse array of interests. It just happens to be that Star Trek's the thing that I talk about. I'm a huge movie fan. As you can see behind me, I've got all of my movies there. I've got loads in storage as well. I've got about 800 DVDs in there. I have an old VHS collection that I've been working on for a while. I love old things and retro things. We've got a games room downstairs. I have most of the old classic consoles. I'm still working on those. There have been fandoms that have come and gone. When I was younger, I was massively into professional wrestling. That's not such a thing anymore, although I kind of dip in every now and again. I've been recently rewatching some Attitude Era stuff. I love other episodes of TV shows. I particularly like reality TV, but good reality TV. I'm really into MasterChef at the moment. Anything that involves cooking, I absolutely love. I love music. I have a very diverse taste in music, very similar to my diverse taste in movies. At the end of the day, if I can tap my foot to it, I will love it. So if it's Justin Bieber, I will listen to it. Or, if it's Meshuggah, mostly we'll probably listen to Meshuggah, to be completely honest with you. John's got a second question. How do your family and in real life friends... You're all my friends. How do they handle your fandom? Do they share it? Do they look at you funny? Do they tolerate it, ignore it, make fun of it, complain about it, support it, or enjoy it? My friends and family support what I'm doing. My dad in particular is one of my biggest fans, and tells me that he thinks what I'm doing is awesome. My wife, my partner, she's very, very supportive, and to a lot of what I do here does take over some of the stuff that I should be doing around the house. I should wash up more. I should probably cook more, given the fact that I'm watching so much MasterChef. But I don't do as much of that as I should, and I probably should try and change that. But I'm very lucky to have so many supportive people around me. So lucky. Good question. What aspect about fandom do you find most fans make fun of? Nothing cruel, more shameless, self-deprecating humor. It's Star Trek. Some aspects of Star Trek is cheesy and dated, and but we know it and we love it. We love cheesy Star Trek. Do you wish to be assimilated? Yes, 7 of 9, but only by you. Where did you first encounter Star Trek, and at what moment did it click for you? Pretty much same as early, Jonathan. It's pretty much been from birth. I remember being very, very, very young, and the first thing I remember seeing was the sunlight shining through the new Genesis trees on the Genesis planet before you see Spock's coffin torpedo with the music, James Horner's incredible music. And I remember instantly just being like, what's this? Put my Power Rangers down. I'm like, I'm interested in this. And honestly, that's kind of when it really clicked for me, because it was just really lush, and I totally bought into it, and I've been a massive fan ever since then. So I can't even remember how old I was. Very, very young. Very young. How did Star Trek inspire you and your career? On a personal note, it got me interested in science at a young age. I probably wouldn't be a teacher if it wasn't for Mr. Spock. Some of the senior leader characters in Star Trek have inspired me for sure. I've been very fortunate in my career to be surrounded by very, very talented people, and I'm currently working with a very talented group of people. I'm a marketer by trade. I've been a marketer for nearly 15 years now, which makes me feel really old. And where I'm currently at, we have a very It's me and the company's MD. She's just a tremendous professional, and our relationship is very Picard and Riker. So she trusts me to run elements of it just automatically. So in the scenes when a Romulan warbird decloaks off the starboard bow or something, Riker would immediately say "shields up," where you would think in a classic show that would be the captain. But he is the XO is making that command happen. And yeah, in my life, in my business life, that's stuff that I'll do. So we're presented with a challenge and I just know what to do, and my boss trusts me to make that happen. I'm very, very fortunate, and the dynamic that we have really reminds me of the dynamic between Picard and Riker. I love it. So Riker, more Rikeriness. If you had to kill off one of the main characters from any Trek series, who would you pick and how would they die? Oh my goodness. I don't want to kill off any of the main characters from any of the Trek series. Let's say hypothetically, one of them had to go. Who would I lose? I would. I don't know. It's hard. The thing is, what I really liked is, not a lot of people like Nemesis. It's not one of my favourites, but I really liked Data's death, and I've said this a bunch of times, because Data's death is a very human thing that he does. It's the ultimate sacrifice. So imagining perhaps like the EMH, who's beloved, making some massive sacrifice to save his crew, it would just be an incredibly memorable, emotional moment. And everybody would be upset about it because no one wants to lose EMH, and Bob Picardo's a legend. So I would probably have the EMH sacrificing his program, so Voyager can get home or something like that. Something, I don't know. I'm glad that didn't happen. What a horrible question. 1A, what comes to mind as the single most enjoyable event or interactions you've had since joining Star Trek? Well, I've already said singing Faith of the Heart in front of the Enterprise guys. My next would probably be doing shots with Larry Nemeczek and Robert O'Reilly at DST a few years ago, and we were doing that with a cardboard cutout of Riker, and most of you who are watching will probably get that reference. So that was real fun. What advice do you offer to make it enjoyable for people new to fandom in general? It's a good question. Again, like I said earlier, coming with an open mind. If you have a friend who is already into Star Trek, ask them to make a list of all of the episodes that they recommend. Get them to write 10 episodes that you absolutely have to watch. But then, if you feel that Star Trek's going to be your flavour, don't just blindly accept what people are going to say is good Star Trek. Make your own assumption. And just because there are a lot of people at the moment who are screaming about Star Trek not being great, don't listen to that. Make up your own mind. Listen to yourself. You like what you like at the end of the day. What, if anything, would you change about Star Trek? Nothing. I'd have more of it. What tips you over from being someone who likes watching Star Trek into a full-on hardcore fan? Nothing. I've been a full-on hardcore fan since I can remember. If you could visit any fictional planet mentioned in the series, films, books, where would you pick? Is placing problematic villains cadets in the brig always the best? There's loads of questions here. I'm going to go with one. So if you could visit any fictional planet mentioned in the series, which one would you pick? Riser, of course. They've got those games that brainwash you. So Riser, surely. Or Bajor. I'd like to go on an archaeological expedition of Bajor, because I'm all into bricks and buildings and stuff. Which crew of the Star Trek shows do you think would be the most OSHA compliant crew? We already know this, Pika, because we spoke about it. We spoke about it on our podcast. Excuse me there. Hand railing. The Enterprise crew have hand railing all over the place. They're super safe, and the most likely bunch to probably have an OSHA department telling them what to do. So well done, Enterprise crew. Would the character of Spock been as successful if Nimoy had been replaced in season 2 of Star Trek? Absolutely not. No, Nimoy brought something to that character. He made that character something special, and good people shine through, and Leonard Nimoy was a good person, and I don't think Spock would have worked with anybody else at all. Who would have been a better Khan in Into Darkness, in your opinion? Javier Bardem. I probably butchered the pronunciation there, but the guy who played Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. Another Hispanic actor, but if you're gonna take Ricardo Montalban, who obviously wasn't a Sikh or of Indian descent, at least then go with Hispanic. Javier Bardem or Benicio del Toro, I think. Yeah, but Javier Bardem, just perfect look, has that intensity. You can get him as being a brutal genius, and he's a really good villain. I was screaming for that casting. If you could take 2 seasons away from one show and grant them to another instead, would you? If so, what would they be, and who would you give them to? I would take 2 seasons from Voyager and I'd give it to Enterprise. Sorry guys, that's just what I would do. Did Star Trek inspire an interest in astronomy? Yes, it did. When I was a kid, I was really into space. I still am. I was that kid that wanted to be an astronaut. Who didn't want to be an astronaut? And I remember being really into stellar cartography. And when I was 6, my parents took me to the London Aquarium to see all the spacey stuff. And it was a lot of fun. And if there's ever a spacey documentary on Netflix or TV in general, I will always watch it. I'm massively fascinated in real world physics and spacey stuff. Not sounding very scientific here, am I? Would your cats tolerate a matching Star Trek uniform? Absolutely not. No. They barely tolerate the dicky bow ties. Which Trek character do you relate to the most? For many reasons. No, not really. I'm a loser. Probably Harry Kim. Wearing the Harry Kim yellow today. What Trek episode has had the most profound effect on your life? Wow. That's a great question, Locutus. The Inner Light. It's a really easy answer. No. It's the other one. It's the other emotional one that I really like. The Visitor. I really like The Visitor. The Visitor is an episode that means a lot to me because growing up I had my fair share of father issues that one day I might go into, and the idea of being separated from my father created a great deal of grief for me. It all worked out well in the end, don't worry guys, but that episode it can be a little bit difficult depending on my mood at the time. Just so wonderfully acted and presented, and it's just one of my favourite episodes ever. 2 more questions to go. We're almost through this. What Trek movies worked better as standalone movies instead of continuing series movies? Would Trek movies work better as standalone movies instead of continuing series movies? Yes. I like the Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home trilogy. I absolutely love that. I have no problems with movies fitting into each other because, as the MCU has demonstrated, people can watch those movies out of order, but they can watch them in order and they still get the same experience. I do like movies that can stand on their own merits. So I've not really answered that one, but a mix. You can make both with Star Trek. I mean, the possibilities are endless with Star Trek. Final question: when did you first discover Star Trek? So as I said, when I was micro TrekLad. The wife would still say I'm micro TrekLad. I watched The Search for Spock for the first time. I used to play that on VHS every single morning at 4:00 in the morning, and absolutely loved Star Trek instantly as soon as I discovered it. I was probably 2 or 3 years old. My dad used to moan at me whenever he would have to come downstairs really, really early to turn it off and put the VHS tape away. But secretly, I think he loved the fact that his little junior was massively into Star Trek, and I can't wait to go through those problems with my 58 girls, because I'm going to have like 20,000 daughters. That's what I want, and because the future is female. triggered. There we go. 47 or 48 questions, Star Trek questions, asked by my incredible friends in the Star Trek Twitter community. I hope that those answers are acceptable for you. This is half an hour long, my word, this video. If you've enjoyed this, please, as I said, give it a thumbs up. If you've watched it to this point, thank you so much. I'm going to be making 99 more videos like this, from ranging in length between a minute to 5 minutes. It's to get my productivity firing. If there's anything else you'd like to know about me, or if there's anything that you would like me to answer in the Star Trek universe, get my thoughts on it, because I'm not an authority on Star Trek, but I would like to have a go at answering questions. Please let me know. Drop me some questions in the comments on YouTube, or connect with me on Twitter at TrekLad, and drop me a DM, because my DMs are always open. That will do it. You guys are tremendous. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, live long and prosper.